The alien woman in my prison cell. She thought I was going to eat her. Lisa Morgan had never imagined she would end up in an alien prison cell. Her research mission to catalog new star systems had gone smoothly until her small ship drifted too close to the border of Zaxian space. The Zaxians were known throughout the galaxy as aggressive conquerors who viewed humans as nothing more than pests to be exterminated or used as slave labor. The attack happened so fast, Lisa barely had time to send a distress signal before her ship was disabled by a single shot from a Zaxian cruiser. Within hours, she found herself thrown into a small metal cell with nothing but a hard sleeping platform and a tiny washroom area in the corner. For 2 weeks, she saw only the guards who brought her meals. They were massive creatures with thick gray skin, ridged foreheads, and too many teeth showing in their perpetually sneering mouths. They spoke to each other in harsh, guttural sounds and never addressed her, directly treating her like she was an animal. In a zoo, Lisa tried to keep track of time by counting meals and sleep cycles. She exercised in the small space to maintain her strength and sanity. She was a scientist first and foremost, so she observed everything about her captors, looking for patterns or weaknesses. But as days passed, her hope of rescue began to fade. Then, on what she estimated was her 15th day of captivity, something unexpected happened. The cell door slid open with its usual metallic screech, but instead of a guard with her meal tray, a new prisoner was shoved roughly inside. The door slammed shut, leaving Lisa staring in amazement at her new cellmate. The alien woman was unlike anything Lisa had ever seen. She stood slightly taller than Lisa, with slender limbs and blue skin that seemed to shimmer with an inner light. But what made Lisa gasp were the 4 arms extending from her torso, and the 6 eyes arranged in a pattern across her face. 2 large ones where human eyes would be, and 4 smaller ones in a gentle arc above them. The alien woman also had 2 delicate antennae protruding from her head that twitched and moved constantly, as if sensing the air around her. The alien woman noticed Lisa and immediately retreated to the farthest corner of the cell. Her 6 eyes blinked rapidly in what Lisa interpreted as fear. The alien made a soft chirping sound, her 4 arms wrapping protectively around her body. Lisa raised her hands in what she hoped was a universal gesture of peace. "I'm not going to hurt you," she said softly, knowing the alien probably couldn't understand her words, but hoping her tone would convey her meaning. The alien woman continued to stare at her, the antennae now lying flat against her head. She made another chirping sound, this one lower and longer. Then, to Lisa's surprise, she pantomimed eating, making chewing motions with her mouth, which Lisa noticed had no visible teeth. Then the alien pointed at Lisa and vigorously shook her head. Lisa stared in confusion before understanding dawned. The alien thought Lisa wanted to eat her. She laughed despite herself and shook her head. No, I don't want to eat you," she said, making similar gestures to show she had no such intention. "I promise." The alien watched her carefully for several long moments before her posture relaxed slightly. One of her 4 hands reached into a pocket in her strange, shimmering garment and pulled out a small device. She pressed it against her throat and spoke. Her voice emerged mechanical and stilted. "Human, not eat." Calaxi Lisa felt a surge of excitement at this attempt at communication. "No, I won't eat you," she confirmed, nodding and smiling. "Are you Calaxi? Is that your name or your species?" The alien tilted her head in what seemed like consideration. "Mira, name Calaxi, species." Lisa nodded, understanding. Mira was her name. Lisa," she said, pointing to herself. "Human." Mira nodded several times. Her antennae now perked upward. "Lisa, human. Not eat Mira. Mira, not eat." Lisa friends. Lisa grinned despite their dire situation. "Yes, friends," she agreed. Over the next few days, Lisa learned more about Mira and her species through their limited communication. The Calaxi were a peaceful race known throughout their sector. For their remarkable medical technology, they had developed cures for diseases that still plagued other species. Their planet had been invaded by the Zaxians, who wanted their medical knowledge to enhance their own warriors and create biological weapons. Mira had been a head researcher in one of the main Calaxi medical facilities. When the Zaxians demanded she develop weapons that could target specific species, she had refused. They had destroyed her lab, killed her assistants, and taken her prisoner. She had been moved from facility to facility as the Zaxians tried to force her cooperation. I help heal, not hurt. Mira explained her translator device, making her words sound flat and emotionless. But Lisa could see the passion in her many eyes. Lisa understood that despite their different biology, they shared common values. Lisa shared her own story, explaining how she had been mapping star systems for Earth when she accidentally crossed into Zaxian territory. "I'm an astronomer, a scientist," she explained, using simple words that Mira's device might translate accurately. "Not a soldier." Mira seemed to understand, her antennae perking up. "Mira also scientist," she replied. "Medicine heal, not hurt." As days passed, the two prisoners began to form a bond that transcended their biological differences. They developed a form of communication that combined the broken English provided by Mira's translation device with hand gestures and drawings made with their fingers on the cell floor. Lisa taught Mira some human words, and Mira taught Lisa some Galaxy words. They also began to work together to observe the guards' patterns and behaviors, looking for any opportunity to escape. Lisa noticed that the evening guard was often less attentive sometimes, even dozing at his post. Mira, with her more sensitive hearing, could detect when other guards were nearby, warning Lisa when they needed to stop talking about escape plans. On their 7th day together, Lisa woke to find Mira sitting cross-legged. On the floor, her 4 hands were positioned in what looked like a meditation pose. Her 6 eyes closed. Her antennae moved slowly in gentle waves. Lisa watched, fascinated, until Mira opened her eyes. "Galaxy morning prayer," she explained through her device. "Thank universe for knowledge. Thank stars for life." Lisa smiled, appreciating this glimpse into Galaxy culture. "It's beautiful," she said. "Do all Galaxy pray like this?" Mira nodded. "All Galaxy connect to universal energy. Scientists study universe, but also respect universal mystery." Lisa had never been particularly religious, but something about Mira's simple explanation touched her. There in that prison cell light years from Earth, she felt a connection to this alien woman that went beyond their shared captivity. That evening, as they ate their bland prison rations, Mira suddenly stiffened, her antennae quivering. She pressed a finger to her lips in the universal gesture for silence. Then she whispered, "Other prisoners, plan escape soon." Chaos. Lisa felt her heart rate accelerate. "How do you know?" Mira pointed to her antennae. "Hear far pickup vibrations. Many guards running. Many prisoners fighting." Lisa knew this could be their only chance. "We need to be ready," she said. "When it happens, we move fast." Mira nodded agreement. They spent the next few hours preparing. They gathered what few possessions they had. Lisa tore strips from the thin blanket on her sleeping platform and wrapped them around her hands for protection. Mira showed Lisa pressure points on Zaxian anatomy where a precisely placed strike could temporarily paralyze, we not kill. Mira emphasized only stop, fight only if needed. Lisa agreed violence had never been her way either. She was a scientist and explorer, not a fighter. But she would do what was necessary to escape and help Mira return to her people. As night fell by the prison's artificial schedule, the facility grew quieter. Lisa and Mira lay on their respective sleeping platforms pretending to rest, but fully alert. Their eyes met across the dark cell, a silent understanding passing between them. Whatever happened next, they would face it together. Two scientists from different worlds united by circumstance and a growing friendship that defied the vastness of space and the differences in their biology. The alarm came 3 hours into their rest cycle. A distant explosion shook the walls of their cell, followed by the blaring of sirens. Lisa and Mira were instantly alert, exchanging quick glances. This was the moment they had been waiting for. Sounds of chaos spread through the prison. Shouts and heavy footsteps echoed down the corridors. The emergency lights flickered, casting eerie red shadows across the cell. "It's happening," Lisa whispered. Mira nodded, her antennae twitching rapidly as she processed the sounds only she could hear. Many fights, she confirmed, 2 sections away. Guards running. They moved to positions on either side of the cell door, ready to act when opportunity presented itself. Lisa felt her heart pounding in her chest, but her mind was clear, focused on the task ahead. Minutes passed. The noises grew louder, suggesting the disturbance was spreading throughout the facility. Then they heard the distinctive, heavy footsteps of a Zaxian guard approaching their cell. "Get back," Mira hissed, pulling Lisa away from the door. They retreated to their sleeping platforms just as the cell door slid open. A Zaxian guard stood there, weapon drawn, his ridged face twisted with tension. He barked something in his harsh language. Lisa and Mira exchanged glances, both understanding that this was not part of their plan. The guard was evacuating prisoners, not just passing by. Mira stepped forward, her translator device at her throat. "Where take?" she asked, her mechanical voice somehow conveying confusion. The guard growled another command, gesturing with his weapon for them to move. Lisa realized they had no choice but to follow. They would have to adapt their escape plan. As they stepped into the corridor, Lisa was shocked by the scene. Alarms blared and emergency lights flashed. Guards were rushing in all directions, herding prisoners toward what Lisa assumed was an evacuation point. "What happening?" Mira asked the guard as they walked. The guard snarled something that Mira's device translated as "attack rebel ship damaged, move." Now Lisa felt a surge of hope, rebels attacking the prison. Could it be a rescue? Maybe Earth forces had found her. Or perhaps Galaxy resistance fighters looking for Mira. Whatever the case, this chaos improved their chances of escape. They followed the guard down a series of corridors, joining a stream of other prisoners being evacuated. Lisa noted that most were species she had never seen before, all looking scared and confused. The Zaxians clearly had enemies throughout the galaxy. The guard led them into a large hangar bay where several transport ships were being loaded with prisoners. Other guards stood watch, weapons ready. The hangar door was partially open, revealing the blackness of space beyond. Lisa could see a battle raging outside, smaller ships darting around a larger Zaxian vessel. Weapons fire illuminating the void. Suddenly, a massive explosion rocked the hangar. Guards and prisoners alike were thrown to the floor. In the confusion, Lisa felt Mira's hand grab her arm and pull her sideways. Now Mira whispered, "Follow." They slipped away from their guard, ducking behind a stack of supply crates. Mira led the way, her knowledge of Zaxian facilities proving valuable. They moved quickly, staying low, using the chaos as cover. "Where are we going?" Lisa asked as they navigated through the hangar, avoiding the notice of the distracted guards' escape pods. Mira replied, pointing toward a small door at the far end of the hangar. "Small ships for emergency." They were halfway there when a guard spotted them. He shouted, raising his weapon. Lisa reacted instinctively. She grabbed a loose piece of metal from the floor and threw it at the guard's head. The projectile hit him squarely, between his eyes, stunning him long enough for Mira to reach him. With precise movements, Mira pressed her fingers against points on the guard's neck. The guard froze, his eyes wide with shock before collapsing to the ground. "Sleep only," Mira explained, as they continued running. "Not dead, wake soon." They reached the door to the escape pod bay. Lisa hit the control panel, but nothing happened. "Locked," she said, her hopes sinking. Mira pushed her aside and examined the panel. Her 4 hands worked quickly, removing the cover and manipulating the wiring inside. Her 6 eyes blinked in concentration. After a few tense moments, the door slid open. The escape pod bay was empty of guards. The small room contained 5 pods each, barely large enough for 2 occupants. Mira rushed to the nearest one, opening its hatch. Lisa hesitated. "What about the other prisoners?" she asked. "We can't just leave them." Mira looked at her with what seemed like respect in her many eyes. "Good heart, Lisa. But too many cannot save. All must save selves to fight later." Lisa knew she was right. They couldn't help everyone, not now. They needed to escape first. They climbed into the pod. The interior was cramped, designed for Zaxian anatomy. Mira settled into the pilot seat, her 4 hands moving across the unfamiliar controls. "You can fly this?" Lisa asked. Mira made a chirping sound that Lisa had come to recognize as laughter. "All ships, same basics," she replied. "Stars, same math, same." The pod hummed to life. Mira guided it toward the hangar opening, slipping out amid the confusion of battle. Outside, the view was both terrifying and spectacular. The prison station was massive, a dark metal structure against the backdrop of stars. It was under attack by smaller vessels that darted around it, firing weapons that left bright trails across the blackness. Mira piloted the pod away from the battle, keeping close to the station to avoid detection. "Where do we go?" Lisa asked. "The pod doesn't have enough range to reach any habitable system." Mira pointed to a small moon orbiting a nearby gas giant. "Hide there, send signal. Wait for friends," as they approached the moon. Lisa saw that its surface was cratered and barren, but Mira found a deep canyon that would shield them from sensors and guided the pod down to a landing. The pod settled with a gentle bump. Mira shut down all non-essential systems to conserve power. They sat in near darkness, lit only by the faint glow of the control panel. "Now we wait," Mira said. The next 12 hours were tense. They took turns sleeping. Watching for any sign of pursuit, Mira used the pod's communication system to send a coded message on a frequency she said the Galaxy resistance used. Lisa helped her boost the signal using her knowledge of subspace physics while they waited. They talked more freely than they had in their cell. Lisa learned about Mira's homeworld, a planet with 3 moons and vast oceans of purple water. The Galaxy lived in floating cities designed to move with the tides their society valued, knowledge and healing above all else, with scientists and doctors held in the highest esteem. Mira in turn asked about Earth. Lisa described the blue oceans, green forests, and varied climates. She explained humanity's journey to the stars, our triumphs and mistakes, our ongoing quest to understand the universe. They were in the midst of discussing the similarities between human and Galaxy music when the pod sensors chimed. Ship approaching Mira said, her antennae rigid with tension. Lisa felt fear grip her heart. Had the Zaxians found them? Mira studied the readings, then made a trilling sound of excitement. "Galaxy ship," she confirmed. "Friends come." The ship that landed beside their pod was sleek and elegant. Unlike the bulky Zaxian vessels, its hull was a shimmering blue similar to Mira's skin. The hatch opened and 3 Galaxy emerged, their antennae twitching in what Lisa assumed was excitement. Mira ran to them, speaking rapidly in her native language, which sounded to Lisa like a beautiful combination of chirps, trills, and melodic tones. The other Galaxy embraced Mira with all their arms before turning their attention to Lisa. One of them approached holding a device similar to Mira's translator. "You saved our chief scientist, the alien," said the translator, making the words flat but the meaning clear. "We are grateful." Lisa smiled, feeling somewhat overwhelmed. "I think we saved each other." The Galaxy inclined their head. "We will take you to safety." "Human Lisa, you have the friendship of the Galaxy people." As they boarded the Galaxy ship, Lisa felt a mixture of emotions: relief at escaping the Zaxians, gratitude for Mira and her people's help, and a growing excitement about what this first real contact between humans and Galaxy might mean for both their species. The ship rose from the moon and accelerated away from the gas giant. Mira joined Lisa at a viewport where they could see the stars stretching before them. "Where will you go?" Lisa asked. "Will you take me back to Earth?" Mira placed one of her hands on Lisa's arm. "First, safe place. Then message Earth leaders. Then perhaps Lisa come Galaxy world human. And Galaxy make friendship." Lisa smiled at the thought. Earth had been seeking peaceful contact with other species since the earliest days of space exploration. In Mira and her people, they might have found not just allies but friends. The ship entered hyperspace, the stars blurring into streams of light. They were safe for now. Their journey together was just beginning. The Galaxy ship traveled through hyperspace for 3 days. During that time, Lisa was treated as an honored guest. She was given comfortable quarters and clothing that fit her human form. The food was strange but delicious, prepared specially to meet her nutritional needs. Lisa spent much of her time with Mira, learning more about Galaxy culture and teaching Mira about humans. They discovered many similarities between their species, despite their obvious physical differences. Both valued knowledge and exploration. Both had developed space travel after centuries of looking up at the stars with wonder. Both had music, art, and literature, though expressed in very different ways. The ship itself was a marvel of technology. unlike the harsh utilitarian design of Zaxian vessels. The Galaxy ship was beautiful as well as functional. Curved walls, softly glowing lights, and living plants integrated into the structure made it feel more like a garden than a spacecraft. On the third day, the captain of the vessel, a Galaxy named Nari, summoned Lisa and Mira to the bridge. "We approach safe haven," Nari explained through a translator device similar to Mira's neutral space trading station. Many species no Zaxian allowed. The view screen showed their destination, a massive space station shaped like a wheel with spokes extending from a central hub. Ships of various designs docked at ports along the rim. Lisa stared in wonder. "Is this where the Galaxy resistance operates from?" Mira shook her head, her antennae moving in a negative pattern. "No resistance base secret. This neutral ground many species trade, meat exchange. All welcome, except Zaxians," as they docked. Lisa felt both excitement and apprehension. This would be her first encounter with multiple alien species at once. As a scientist, she was thrilled at the opportunity, but she also worried about how she would be received. Mira sensed her concern. One of her hands rested gently on Lisa's shoulder. "Humans rare here," she admitted through her translator. "Few seen. But respected, good traders, good fighters when needed." The Galaxy crew prepared to disembark. Nari approached Lisa. "We stay 2 days," she explained. "Rest, refuel, send messages, then to Galaxy. Secret base, you stay with us, until contact." Earth. Lisa nodded gratefully. The thought of being left alone on the station was intimidating. "Thank you, I appreciate your hospitality." Nari made a gesture with her forearms that Lisa had learned was a sign of respect. "Among Galaxy, you saved Mira." "Most honored. Scientist, you friend to all Galaxia." As they left the ship, Lisa stayed close to Mira. The docking bay was filled with activity. Beings of various species moved about carrying cargo operating machinery, or simply standing in groups talking. Lisa saw creatures with tentacles, others with scales, some that seemed made of living crystal, and many more she could not begin to classify. The air was filled with a cacophony of sounds, different languages, translator devices, and the background noise of machinery. Scents both pleasant and strange mingled in the recycled atmosphere. Many eyes turned to look at Lisa, some with curiosity, others with what might have been suspicion or interest. Mira kept a protective stance beside her, leading her through the crowd toward what appeared to be a transportation hub. "We go to Station Center," Mira explained. "Meeting place, food, rest. Representatives from many worlds." They boarded a transport pod that moved swiftly along one of the spokes toward the central hub. Through the windows, Lisa could see the interior of the station: gardens, hydroponic farms, living quarters, and markets, all arranged in concentric rings. The engineering was impressive. Artificial gravity maintained throughout the structure, with the central hub in zero gravity for ease of navigation between spokes. The pod stopped at the central hub, which was a large open space with gardens, water features, and what appeared to be cafes and meeting areas. The lack of gravity was immediately apparent as beings moved in 3 dimensions, some walking on surfaces with magnetic boots, others floating gently between levels. Mira guided Lisa to an area where gravity was maintained, a section marked with symbols Lisa couldn't read. Several Galaxy were already there, including Captain Nari. They were speaking with beings that Lisa had never seen before. Tall, slender creatures with iridescent skin that seemed to change color as they moved. One of the new aliens turned to look at Lisa and Mira, its large faceted eyes widening. The being spoke a liquid flowing language. Human. Mira translated. "The Alani are surprised to see human here. Few humans travel this far from Earth." Space. Lisa smiled and bowed slightly, hoping the gesture would be understood. "As respectful, I'm honored to be here," she said. "Although the circumstances of my journey were not what I would have chosen." The Alani made a sound like tinkling bells, which Mira explained was laughter. Then it spoke again, this time longer, its colors shifting from blue to green. Mira translated. "The Alani say humans are known as curious explorers, good traders, fair in dealings but fierce when threatened. They are interested in why you are with. Galaxy Lisa explained her capture by the Zaxians and her escape with Mira's help. The Alani listened, its colors now pulsing with what seemed to be interest or concern. When she finished it, turned to confer with its companions, more aliens joined the gathering. Lisa was introduced to representatives from 5 different species. Each reacted to her presence differently. Some were openly curious, asking questions about Earth and humans. Others were more reserved, simply acknowledging her with formal greetings. One species particularly fascinated Lisa. The Volari were small beings apparently composed of a gelatinous substance that could change shape at will. They communicated through patterns of light that flashed within their translucent bodies. Their translator rendered their thoughts in a poetic, almost musical language. The talk soon turned to politics, specifically the Zaxian threat. Each species had suffered from Zaxian aggression. The Alani had lost colonies. The Volari had been driven from their original homeworld. The stories were similar to what had happened to the Galaxy. Lisa realized that despite their differences, these species shared common concerns. Her presence as a human seemed to spark hope that Earth might join their loose alliance against Zaxian expansion. After several hours of discussion, Captain Nari suggested they rest and continue talks the following day. The Galaxy had arranged accommodations in the station's diplomatic section. As Lisa and Mira walked to their quarters, Lisa felt overwhelmed by all. She had learned, "I never imagined there were so many species working together out here." She admitted Earth knows about some alien races, but not this level of cooperation. Mira made a chirping sound. "Galaxy big," she said through her translator. "Many peoples, many worlds stronger together than alone." Their quarters were comfortable, designed to accommodate various physiologies. The room adjusted its environmental settings for Lisa, automatically, the temperature and lighting shifting to Earth. Normal Lisa sat on what appeared to be a bed, though it conformed to her body in a way no Earth bed ever had. "I need to contact Earth," she said. "Tell them what I've learned about the Zaxians, and about all of you." Mira nodded. "Tomorrow, send message through station. Communications. Earth must know Zaxian threat growing, not just to Galaxy. To all free peoples." Lisa lay back on the strange bed, staring at the ceiling. "I was just a researcher mapping stars," she said softly. "Now I am in the middle of what sounds like an interstellar conflict." One of Mira's hands touched Lisa's in a gesture of comfort. "Sometimes stars guide to unexpected places," she said, her multiple eyes blinking in what Lisa had come to recognize as a thoughtful expression. "Universe has purpose. Perhaps your purpose bring human voice to galactic concerns." Lisa found the idea both terrifying and exhilarating. She was just one scientist, not a diplomat or politician. But she was here now, perhaps the first human to encounter this alliance of species. Perhaps she could make a difference. The next morning, Lisa composed a message to Earth with Mira's help. She explained everything that had happened from her capture to her current situation. She emphasized the threat the Zaxians posed and the potential benefits of alliance with the Galaxy and other peaceful species. The station communications officer, a being with 4 eyes and metallic skin, assured her the message would be transmitted through secure channels. It would take several weeks to reach Earth using the fastest communication technology available. With that task complete, Lisa and Mira rejoined the diplomatic discussions. The various representatives were now talking about a more formal alliance, one that might include humans if Earth was willing. Lisa's input was frequently requested as the sole human present. By the end of the day, a preliminary agreement had been drafted. The alliance would share information about Zaxian movements, coordinate defense efforts, and establish trade relationships. The document included provisions for Earth to join once contact was established. That evening, as Lisa and Mira prepared to return to the Galaxy ship, an alarm sounded throughout the station. Red lights flashed and announcements in multiple languages echoed through the corridors. Mira's antennae stiffened, alert. She said, "Danger." The station shook violently. Lisa stumbled, grabbing a wall for support. "What's happening?" she asked. Mira listened, her antennae vibrating. "Attack," she said. Her 6 eyes widened. "Zaxians here." Chaos erupted throughout the station. People of all species ran in different directions, some toward safety, others toward defense positions. The station shook again as another impact hit Lisa, and Mira fought against the flow of panicked beings making their way toward the command center. Captain Nari and several other Alliance representatives were already there, gathered around a holographic display of the station and surrounding space Zaxian warships. 3. The station commander, a tall Ilani, explained, its skin flashing with patterns of red and orange station defenses activated, but not designed for military conflict. Lisa stared at the hologram. 3 Zaxian cruisers had surrounded the station. They were massive vessels bristling with weapons. Smaller fighters swarmed from them, heading toward the docking bays. How did they find us? Lisa asked. This station is supposed to be neutral territory. A Valari representative flashed patterns of blue and yellow, its translator converting the lights to words. Spy must be informant. Someone told Zaxians about meeting about human with Calaxi. All eyes turned briefly to Lisa. She felt a chill run down her spine. They were hunting her specifically. And Mira, what do we do, Captain? Nari asked. The Calaxi ship cannot fight 3 cruisers. The station commander flickered various colors before responding. Evacuate important personnel to small ships. Hide an asteroid field nearby. Station will negotiate. Claim neutrality. Mira turned to Lisa with urgency. You must go, she said. If Zaxians capture you, use you against Earth. Against Alliance, Lisa shook her head. I'm not leaving you or the others. Mira made a sharp chirping sound that needed no translation. It was clearly frustration. Your knowledge, too important, she insisted. You only human who knows about Alliance first contact cannot fall into Zaxian hands. Captain. Nari approached them. Mira, correct, she said. Human, Lisa must escape. Priority 1. A plan was quickly formed. Lisa would be escorted to a small fast scout ship hidden in a maintenance bay. The ship was designed for stealth and speed, not combat. It would take her to a Calaxi outpost several light years away. While the station dealt with the Zaxian threat, Mira would remain behind to help coordinate the defense and evacuation of key personnel. Captain Nari would try to get the Calaxi ship away with as many of their people as possible. Lisa hated the idea of separation, but understood the logic. She embraced Mira, their different anatomies making the gesture awkward but meaningful. Promise you'll find me, she said. Mira touched her forehead to Lisa's in the Calaxi gesture of deep respect. Find you, she promised. Stars connect us. Always. A Valari guide led Lisa through maintenance tunnels, avoiding the main corridors where fighting had already broken out between Zaxian boarding parties and station security. The tunnels were narrow and dimly lit, designed for service droids rather than organic beings. They had to crawl in some sections and squeeze through tight spaces in others. They reached a small bay hidden behind false panels. A sleek vessel waited barely large enough for 2 people. Its design was unlike any ship Lisa had seen before, with a hull that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Stealth ship, the Valari explained, with patterns of green and blue. Valari technology. Visual sensors detect not special engines. Quiet, no heat signature. Lisa climbed into the ship. The controls were unfamiliar, but the Valari quickly showed her the basics. The ship was designed to be simple to operate with an advanced navigation system. She would need to input the coordinates for the Calaxi outpost, and the ship would do the rest, as Lisa prepared to launch another explosion. Rocked the station much closer this time. The lights flickered. Alarms blared with new urgency. The Valari flashed a pattern of red. Must go now. Zaxians breach near seconds only. Lisa activated the ship's systems. The engine hummed to life, barely audible. The small door of the maintenance bay slid open, revealing a service tunnel that led to an emergency exit port. Go, the Valari flashed. Help comes later. Alliance survives. Must survive. The ship slipped into the tunnel, guided by automatic systems. Lisa felt her heart racing as the ship navigated the narrow passage. At the end, a small airlock opened. The ship shot out into space, away from the embattled station. Lisa looked back. The beautiful wheel structure was now marred by explosions and weapons. Zaxian cruisers loomed over it. fighters swarming around like angry insects. Flashes of energy weapons lit up the darkness as the station's meager defenses tried to hold off the attackers. She wanted to turn back to help somehow, but she knew her role now was to survive, to bring word to Earth, to ensure the Alliance had a chance to grow. The ship accelerated rapidly, the stealth systems engaging. The stars stretched into lines as it entered hyperspace. Lisa was alone again, in an unfamiliar ship heading to an unknown destination, and Mira, her friend, was back there facing the Zaxians. The journey to the Galaxy outpost would take 3 days according to the navigation system. Lisa tried to rest, but sleep was difficult. Her mind kept returning to the station, to Mira and the others. What had happened after she left? Were they captured, killed? Or had they managed to escape? The ship was well stocked with food and water, though the selections were clearly meant for non-human metabolism. Lisa found enough that she could eat bland but nutritious. On the 3rd day, the ship dropped out of hyperspace near a small, unremarkable planet. It looked barren from orbit, mostly desert with small oceans, but as the ship approached, Lisa detected signs of habitation underground. The ship's communication system activated automatically. A message in Galaxy language played, followed by a translation. "Welcome, scout vessel." "Identify." Lisa responded as she'd been instructed. "This is Lisa Morgan, human friend of Chief Scientist Mira, seeking sanctuary." There was a long pause, then a different voice. "I am Outpost Commander Tala. Proceed to coordinates Docking Bay 3. Welcome, Lisa Morgan, friend of Galaxy." The ship followed the transmitted coordinates, flying toward what appeared to be a mountain range. As it got closer, Lisa saw that what she had thought was a natural formation was actually a massive structure, disguised to blend with the surroundings. A section of the mountain slid open, revealing a docking bay. The ship landed gently. Lisa took a deep breath, preparing to meet more Galaxy. The welcoming committee consisted of 5 Galaxy, all wearing what appeared to be military uniforms. Their antennae twitched in what Lisa recognized as curiosity or surprise. She was likely the first human they had ever seen. Commander Tala stepped forward. Lisa knew it was her because her uniform was more elaborate than the others. "Our scans detect only you," she said through a translator. "Where is ship's crew?" "Where is Mira?" Lisa explained everything. The attack on the station, the emergency evacuation, her separation from Mira. As she spoke, she saw the Galaxy antennae droop, and what she had learned was a sign of distress or concern. "Bad news," Commander Tala said. "Station important meeting place. Many allies there. Zaxians grow bolder, threatening all free peoples." One of the other Galaxy spoke, its antennae moving in sharp, jerky motions that Lisa had never seen before. The translator rendered its words, "Human. Could be spy. Convenient story. Zaxians find station after human arrives." Lisa felt a flash of anger but controlled it. "I was a prisoner of the Zaxians," she said firmly. "Mira and I escaped together. We were friends. I would never betray her or her people." Commander Tala held up 2 of her hands in a calming gesture. "Truth easy to verify," she said. "We have mind-sharing technology. Safe, painless, show memories, show truth." Lisa hesitated. Mind-sharing sounded invasive, but she had nothing to hide and needed the Galaxy to trust her. "I consent," she said, "if it will prove my honesty." The mind-sharing process was nothing like Lisa had feared. She was taken to a medical facility where a gentle Galaxy physician explained the procedure. A small device would be placed on her temple. It would read neural patterns and translate them into images. Sharing, not taking, the physician emphasized. The device was cool against her skin. Lisa felt a slight tingling sensation as it activated. The physician asked her to recall her experiences from the time of her capture. Images appeared on a screen nearby, not just visual memories but emotions, sensations, the complete experience. The Galaxy watched in silence as Lisa's story unfolded: her capture, her meeting with Mira, their growing friendship, their escape, and everything that followed. When the process was complete, Commander Tala approached her antennae, now curved forward in what Lisa recognized as a respectful position. Truth verified. She said, "Human Lisa, friend 2. Galaxy friend to Mira. Welcome to Outpost. Stay safe here. Until contact Earth." Until find Mira. Lisa felt relief wash over her. "Thank you," she said. "Now what do we do?" Commander Tala led Lisa to a command center, deep within the mountain facility. "First, rest," she said. "Then help us plan rescue mission. Find survivors from station. Find Mira." For the first time since the attack, Lisa felt hope. Mira was resourceful. The Galaxy were determined. And now Lisa was determined too. She would not abandon her friend. She would help rescue Mira and the others. And somehow she would find a way to bring Earth into this alliance of species against the Zaxian threat. As she looked at the star maps displayed on the command center screens, Lisa Morgan, astronomer and explorer, realized she had become something she never expected: a diplomat, a warrior, and most importantly, a bridge between worlds. 2 weeks passed at the Galaxy outpost. Lisa adapted to life among the aliens, learning their language and customs, while helping plan the rescue mission. Intelligence reports filtered in through the Galaxy network. The station had been severely damaged, but not destroyed. Many had escaped, including some of the Alliance representatives. But there was no word about Mira or Captain Nari. Lisa spent hours in the command center studying Zaxian ship movements and patrol patterns. She applied her knowledge of stellar cartography to help identify possible routes that would avoid detection. Her astronomical training proved unexpectedly useful in planning covert operations. Commander Tala was impressed by Lisa's contributions. "Human perspective valuable," she commented one day as they reviewed a new strategy. Lisa saw patterns others missed. The Galaxy were different from humans in many ways. Their 6 eyes could see light spectrums invisible to Lisa. Their hearing was far more sensitive. Their 4 arms gave them advantages in tasks requiring manual dexterity. But Lisa discovered that human intuition and lateral thinking were qualities the Galaxy respected. During this time, communications were established with Earth. A secure channel was opened, and Lisa spoke directly with Earth Central Command. She explained everything she had learned about the Galaxy, the Alliance, and the Zaxian threat. The response was cautious, but interested. Earth had encountered the Zaxians before in brief skirmishes, but had not realized the extent of their empire or aggression. "Earth will send diplomatic mission," Commander Phillips of Earth Central told her. 1 month time, small fleet for protection. "You have done well. Lisa Morgan, first contact specialist, will take over when they arrive." Lisa felt a mix of relief and disappointment. Relief that Earth was taking the situation seriously. Disappointment that her role would soon be diminished. But she had more immediate concerns. Finding Mira on the 17th day at the outpost, a breakthrough came. A Valari scout ship arrived with critical information. The Zaxians had taken prisoners from the station to a processing facility on a moon orbiting a gas giant in the Cygnus sector. The facility was heavily guarded but not impenetrable. The scout had managed to intercept communications confirming that a Galaxy scientist was among the high-value prisoners. Lisa knew it had to be Mira. The Zaxians would want her knowledge of Galaxy medical technology. Commander Tala called a strategy meeting. The rescue would be difficult. The facility was deep in Zaxian territory, but they had one advantage. The Zaxians would not expect an attack there. They believed their location was secret. "I will go," Lisa insisted when volunteers were called for. "I know Mira better than anyone here." "She would do the same for me," Commander Tala studied Lisa, her antennae moving in thoughtful patterns. "Dangerous mission," she said. "Human physiology different. Zaxians recognize immediately." Lisa had considered this. "I can be disguised," she argued. "Several species in the Alliance look similar enough to humans with modifications. I can pass as Alani, with the right skin coloring and eye coverings." After much discussion, a plan was formed. A small strike team would infiltrate the facility. Lisa disguised as an Ilani trader. The Galaxy had technology that could temporarily alter her appearance, changing her skin tone and applying prosthetics to mimic Ilani features. They would pose as prisoners, being transported to the facility with falsified documentation. The mission was set for 3 days later. Lisa spent the time learning to move like an Alani, practicing their distinctive gait and gestures. The disguise was uncomfortable but effective. When she looked in a mirror, she barely recognized herself. The strike team consisted of Lisa, 2 Galaxy warriors, and a Volari communications specialist. They would travel in a captured Zaxian transport, modified to appear as a prison shuttle. The journey to the Zaxian facility took 4 days. Even with a disguise, Lisa had to remain hidden during routine communications with Zaxian patrols. The team successfully passed 2 checkpoints with forged authorization codes. As they approached the facility, Lisa felt a growing sense of dread. The moon was a barren rock with no atmosphere. The facility itself was built into the surface, a series of domes connected by tunnels. Defense turrets surrounded it, and an energy shield shimmered above their ship. Was challenged as it entered the moon's orbit. The Volari specialist transmitted the forged codes. There was a tense moment of silence before permission to land was granted. The landing bay was filled with Zaxian guards, their massive gray forms moving with military precision. The strike team was escorted from their ship, Lisa keeping her head down, eyes averted as she'd been instructed. The guards paid little attention to what they assumed were routine prisoners. They were led through security checkpoints. The Volari used a jamming device disguised as a medical implant to prevent scans from revealing their weapons. Once inside the main facility, the team was left with a single guard in a processing area. One of the Galaxy warriors moved with startling speed, pressing nerve points on the guard, who collapsed without a sound. The Volari immediately accessed a computer terminal, downloading the facility schematic and prisoner locations. Found her. The Volari flashed patterns of blue high security section, level 5, heavily guarded. The team moved quickly following the downloaded map. They used service corridors, avoiding main pathways. When they encountered guards, the Galaxy warriors disabled them silently. Lisa was impressed by their efficiency. Level 5, they faced a more significant challenge. A security door with retinal scanners and armed guards. The Volari specialist transmitted a signal that caused an alarm in a distant section of the facility. Most of the guards ran to investigate. The remaining guards were neutralized and the Volari bypassed the security system. The door slid open, revealing a corridor with cells on either side. Each cell had a force field instead of bars. Inside were prisoners of various species. They moved down the corridor, checking each cell. Lisa felt her heart leap when she spotted a blue form in one of the last cells. Mira sat cross-legged on the floor, her antennae drooping, her forearms limp at her sides. She looked thinner than Lisa remembered, and there were dark marks on her blue skin that might have been bruises. Lisa rushed to the cell. Mira, she called, forgetting her disguise for a moment. Mira's head snapped up, her 6 eyes widening in disbelief. "Lisa," she whispered. Her antennae perked up. How the Volari deactivated the force field. Mira stumbled out. Lisa caught her, supporting her friend with an arm around her waist. "No time to explain," Lisa said. "We need to free the others." And go. Mira nodded, pointing to cells further down. "Captain Nari." "There," she said. "And Ilani, ambassador." Many important prisoners. The team worked quickly, freeing about 20 prisoners in total. Some were injured and needed help walking. The Galaxy warriors distributed spare weapons to those who could fight. Return to the landing bay was more difficult. The alarm that the Volari had triggered as a distraction had been recognized as false. Zaxian security was on high alert. They were forced to take a longer route through maintenance tunnels. Similar to their escape from the prison station, but this time with injured people to protect the group, moved as quickly as possible. They were almost to the landing bay when they ran into a Zaxian patrol. A firefight erupted. Lisa pulled Mira behind cover as energy weapons discharged around them. The Galaxy warriors and some of the freed prisoners returned fire. One of the Galaxy warriors was hit, falling with a cry of pain. Lisa saw Captain Nari drag her comrade to safety. The Volari created a diversion, sending floating light patterns in different directions to confuse the Zaxians. They made it to the landing bay, but more Zaxian guards were waiting. The situation looked desperate. Their ship was across the open space with too many enemies between, and something unexpected happened. An explosion rocked the facility. The lights flickered and alarms blared. An automated announcement played in the Zaxian language. "What's happening?" Lisa asked, as they took cover behind cargo containers. Mira listened her. "Antennae vibrating attack," she said. "Station under attack from outside." The Zaxian guards were now distracted, looking toward the source of the explosions. The strike team seized the opportunity, making a dash for their ship, covering fire from the armed. Prisoners kept the guards at bay long enough for everyone to board. The Volari took the controls, lifting off as weapons fire struck the ship's hull. Damage minimal, it flashed, as the ship accelerated out of the bay. Through the view screen, Lisa saw the source of the attack. A small fleet of ships was engaging the Zaxian defenses. Ships of different designs: Calaxi, Ilani Volari, and others. The Volari established communication with the fleet. Lisa was shocked to hear a human voice respond. "This is Commander. Philip's Earth vessel, Horizon. We received your coordinates from the Calaxi outpost. Need assistance. Earth ships had arrived earlier than expected, and they had come ready for action." The rescued prisoners cheered as their ship joined the fleet. Battle was brief but intense. The Zaxian facility was not designed to repel a coordinated attack by multiple ships. The defense turrets were neutralized, and the energy shield collapsed as their ship docked with the Earth vessel. Horizon. Lisa felt a surge of emotion. This was first contact, not as she had imagined it would be, but perhaps as it needed to be. Earth and the Alliance species fighting side by side against a common enemy. Commander Phillips greeted the rescued prisoners with respect. Translators facilitated communication. Medical personnel, both human and Calaxi, attended to the injured.